The skies over Caracas suddenly roared to life. In recent days, several massive Russian Il-76 cargo planes have landed at Simón Bolívar International Airport. But their cargo wasn't ordinary. Hidden beneath heavy tarps were Russian Mi-35M and Mi-17V5 attack helicopters, a visible symbol of Moscow's military footprint in the heart of Latin America. Local Venezuelan media broadcast footage of military convoys hauling rotors, engines, and weapon systems from the airport to the El Libertador air base. The Venezuelan government called it a technical assistance and joint training mission. But to military analysts, this is far more than a routine exercise. It's a strategic message from Russia to the United States, a reminder that Moscow's influence now reaches into Washington's own backyard. This time, Russia didn't send fighter jets or massive missile systems. They sent attack helicopters, flexible, deadly machines built to dominate tropical battlefields. The Mi-35M, known to NATO as the Hind E, is the modern evolution of the legendary Mi-24 gunship. It's not just an attack platform, it's a flying infantry vehicle. Armed with a 23mm cannon, unguided rockets, Ataka anti-tank missiles, and heavy armor protection, the Mi-35M can shred tanks, convoys, or entrenched forces across mountains and dense jungles alike. Meanwhile, the Mi-17V5 serves as the backbone of Russian air mobility. It can transport up to 36 fully equipped soldiers or 4,000 kilograms of cargo, and it can also be armed with rocket pods for close air support. In Venezuelan hands, these aircraft could dramatically shift the balance of air power in the Caribbean. The defense relationship between Russia and Venezuela isn't new. Since the early 2000s, under President Hugo Chavez, Venezuela has been one of Russia's biggest arms customers in Latin America. Over the past 2 decades, the country has acquired more than 50 helicopters, including Mi-17s, Mi-26s, and Mi-35s. Russia also helped Venezuela build technical training centers, provided spare parts, and deployed permanent military instructors. Under heavy U.S. sanctions and arms embargoes, Caracas turned to Moscow as its main strategic partner. Now, under President Nicolas Maduro, that alliance is accelerating once again. These newly delivered helicopters are more than just tools of war. They're a declaration that the Russia-Venezuela military partnership is alive and growing stronger. Why did Russia choose Venezuela for this latest arms shipment? The answer lies in geopolitics, in power projection. As NATO expands its presence along Russia's borders in Europe, Moscow is responding by extending its reach into Latin America. It's a symmetrical strategy. If NATO moves closer to Russia, then Russia will move closer to America. Attack helicopters are a perfect choice. They can perform counterinsurgency operations in Venezuela's jungles, patrol coastal zones, and guard vital oil infrastructure. But above all, every spinning rotor over Caracas sends a diplomatic message. Russia is here, and it's not afraid to challenge U.S. dominance in its own hemisphere. The Venezuelan government insists this is just a joint exercise and fleet modernization program, but the presence of Russian technicians overseeing the assembly process suggests otherwise. Local sources claim that live fire drills are being conducted at Guarico firing ranges using the new Mi-35 MiS. Even more telling, some of the delivered helicopters reportedly feature encrypted Russian communication systems, usually reserved for high-level allies. That raises the question, is Venezuela preparing for an external threat, or is Russia laying the groundwork for a permanent military foothold in the Americas? Washington didn't stay silent. A U.S. State Department spokesperson called Russia's move provocative and destabilizing. Neighboring countries like Colombia and Brazil also voiced concern as their territories now fall within operational range of Russian-made attack helicopters. But Caracas dismissed the criticism. To Venezuela, this is a sovereign act of military modernization. There's no violation of international law, said Defense Minister Vladimir Padrino Lopez. Venezuela has the same right to defend itself as any other nation. Meanwhile, in Moscow, state media celebrated the delivery, calling it a renewed show of loyalty and proof that Russia can still project global power despite Western sanctions. This delivery isn't just an arms deal, it's a symbol that the global power map is shifting, and that the new front lines of influence may no longer lie in Europe or the Middle East. Venezuela isn't at war, but with Mi-35M and Mi-17 helicopters in its hangars, it now possesses sharper teeth and stronger defenses. For Russia, this is a subtle yet strategic move, expanding its influence and reminding Washington that the Caribbean is no longer a safe zone for U.S. dominance. And for the rest of the world, these helicopters represent only the beginning of a new global rivalry taking shape right in America's backyard. If you see this as a sign of a shifting world order, share your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think Russia is planning to establish a permanent military base in Latin America? Share this video with your friends who follow geopolitics and defense news so more people can understand what's unfolding. And don't forget to smash that like button if you enjoyed this breakdown, subscribe for more deep dives into global military power, and turn on the notification bell so you'll be the first to know whenever a new story about war, weapons, or global strategy drops. Because in times like these, every move, every flight, every helicopter rotor could mark the beginning of a major shift in world power.